Welcome to Surviving the Side Hustle, the podcast for high performers who've gone all in, but still feeling a little stuck. I'm your host, Rob Tracy, coach, speaker, and creator of the Prime Performance Process. If you're a solopreneur, small business owner, or just launched your side hustle and you're tired of grinding with no momentum, this is for you. Every week, we bring you guests that have broke the code, generated momentum, and finally got unstuck. And we're diving into their stories, their struggles, and their secrets to generating massive momentum in both their personal and professional lives. We don't do fluff here. We do frameworks, real talk, and share the kind of insights that get you unstuck for good. Welcome, and let's get rolling. But before we dive in, I gotta remind you, if you're overwhelmed, spinning your wheels, or just tired of hustling without the results, it's time for a Prime Performance Strategy session. In this free call, we'll zoom out on your life and business, identify the real reason you're feeling stuck, and build a game plan to help you reclaim your confidence, energy, and gain some clarity so you can get back to doing what you set out to do. Lead, grow, and thrive. This isn't surface level coaching. It's a system built on resilience, intentionality, clarity, and alignment. So head over to survivingthesidehustle.com/free call to grab your spot today. Again, that's survivingthesidehustle.com/free call. Let's get going and help you look good, feel good, and do great things. What's going on, and welcome back to another Friday recap of Surviving the Side Hustle. So I want to ask you guys, what happens when you do everything right your whole life? Check every box that your family and your culture told you to. You climb to the top of your field and still feel like something is off. You look successful on paper. You're making great money. You're driving the nice car, living in a nice neighborhood, wearing that title that makes people nod with approval when you introduce yourself at a party. But on the inside, your life is just one big blur of work, fatigue, and the feeling that this cannot be all there is. See, that's where this week's guest, Salami, found himself. He had multiple degrees in science. He had a six-figure income, and he had the respected role in the medical and healthcare field. And yet his reality looked like a 16-hour work week year after year after year, with success that felt more like a costume than it was a calling. Then suddenly one day he walks into this bookstore in central London and sees a simple sign: how to be successful. Now remember, this is a guy who's already did everything that his culture told him that success was. So imagine the cognitive dissonance in that moment. He is already successful by the old definition, but something inside him is curious enough, hungry enough to pick up that book behind that sign. That book was The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. And for Mo, that little sign in that bookstore became a sign for his life. He buys the book, he reads it, and then he goes back and looks at every single recommended resource in there. And he buys all of those books too. That one decision kicks off a 15-year deep dive into personal development, high performance, sales, communication, and public speaking. He ends up traveling around the world studying this stuff firsthand. He works in high-level coaching and sales environments, and he speaks multiple languages on stage around the globe. And eventually, he walks away from the traditional path to build a life and a business built on his terms. So today in this recap, I'm going to do things a little bit different. I want to slow down and unpack some of the biggest lessons from my conversation with Mo. For example, what it actually looks like to redefine success, and how to build a world-class mindset and skill set, and why you need to stop waiting for perfect and start living in motion. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right and yet still feel off, then this recap is going to be powerful for you. But even more powerful than this recap would be going over and checking out the full episode. So go back and check that out when you get the chance. But let me reintroduce you to Mo Salami through my lens. So Mo is a scientist turned speaker. He grew up in a family where success was clearly defined. Get a degree, preferably in the sciences, and you're set. Not one degree, not maybe go to school if you feel like it. The expectation was very clear. So he did it. He stacked degrees. He built a career in pharmacy and medical setting. On the outside, he was the model of professional success. Inside that world, there is a lot of pride in saying, I did the hard thing. I mastered the hard subjects. I earned this. And that is important to understand because a lot of people listening right now are in that same exact boat. You might not be a pharmacist or a scientist, but maybe you're a lawyer or you're in finance or you're in tech or you are a highly specialized professional in some other kind of field. The world looks at you and says, congratulations, you made it. But something inside you still feels like, is that actually mine? Or did I just live out somebody else's idea of success? And for Mo, that shift started when he realized he had apparent success, but not actual success. Apparent success is what looks good on the outside. Actual success includes fulfillment, freedom, impact, and joy. The internal experience matches the external story. From there, he went all in on this new world. And that is the theme you will hear over and over and over again with him. Mo is not a toe dipper. If he's in, he's all in. He studied online business, sales, and marketing. He went deep into personal development and public speaking. He even worked with major coaching organizations and did high ticket sales and mentoring with high achievers, some of those major coaching organizations that you probably have heard of. And he did not just learn how to talk about success. He literally lived it, tested it, broke it, and rebuilt it. And now he brings that same intensity into coaching and speaking. His work is all about helping people like you and me answer a simple but heavy question. And that is, what does success look like on my terms? And how do I build it without burning out or losing who I am? And that is the heart of what I wanted to pull out of this conversation. So, 3 takeaways for you guys. But before we get into that, I want to break down how Mo actually serves people now, because there really are 2 main lanes that make up his work. So if you are listening, the first lane that he helps people is impact. He does it by helping people get what they want from business. On the business side, Mo has a deep background in online business and sales. He has spent years in the trenches, building digital offers, selling high ticket programs, understanding the psychology of buyers, and helping people turn their knowledge into income. So if you're someone who's building a side hustle or trying to turn your expertise into a scalable vehicle, this is where his brain really shines. He helps people in the starting phase, like just getting launched, or a growth phase, turning it into consistent revenue, or even the scaling phase, making it bigger without it swallowing your life. Because impact to him is not just about the revenue, it's about giving your gifts to the world in a way that reaches more people and supports the kind of life that you actually want to live. So the second lane is fulfillment. So remember, first lane is impact, second lane is fulfillment. And he does it by helping people get what they want from life. The second lane is the high performance coaching. This is not stay positive and manifest. It is a high standard, high awareness, and high accountability work that focuses on mindset, identity, habits, and the emotional side of pursuing big, big goals. It is about shifting from apparent success to actual success, where you are no longer just chasing what you think you're supposed to, but actually building a life that feels aligned and in tune with what you're doing. Again, Mo is very service driven. You can hear it in the way he talks. He wants to be the world class, and he just steps away. He's constantly pushing and growing. And he even says, like, I've done everything I can do to be the best version of myself, so I can help you become the best version of you. So those 2 lanes, the impact and the fulfillment, they come together under one big outcome. And that obviously is helping people build a life where they can design their ideal lifestyle, not someday, but positively step by step. So now to the 3 key takeaways. Takeaway number 1, about redefine success for yourself. So, Mo talked about this shift from apparent success to actual success. And apparent success, again, is when someone decides for you what success means, like your parents, your culture, your industry, social media, even. And it might look like get the degree, work in this field, make this much money, buy this kind of home, and finally you're successful. But the problem is that you never question that template. You wake up one day like Mo did and realize I have all the visible markers of success, but my life feels like a blur for 16 hours of the day, and I'm not actually living. Actual success, in contrast, includes a lot of different things like fulfillment, impact, joy, growth, and alignment. So for side hustlers, this matters a lot, right? Because many of you are building your business on top of a version of apparent success. You have the job, you have the salary, you have the stability, but your side hustle exists because something in you is either whispering that there is more or that what you're currently doing isn't what you want to be doing forever. So the invitation here is to slow down and ask yourself, whose definition of success have I been chasing? And what parts of my current life feel like they belong to me? And what parts feel inherited? Ask yourself also if you stripped away all the titles, the income, and what people think of you, what would actual success look like day to day? That's not just a quick journaling prompt, that is a process. Mo's story is proof that you are allowed to rewrite the definition. So, takeaway number 2, 3 steps to purpose driven success. So, in the conversation, Mo shared a simple 3-part frame that sits under so much of what he does: world class mindset, world class skill set, and always move in the direction of the result you want before you see it. So, let's break that down real quick for you. Number 1, world class mindset. He said something along the lines of like 80 to 90% of your results come from your mindset. And I agree on that. Mindset is not just positive thinking. It's how you interpret setbacks, and it's what you believe about your own potential and how you handle uncertainty, and whether or not you see challenges as dead ends or as data to get better. If your default idea or thought is I'm not enough, or people like me do not succeed at this, or even if it does not work right away, then I must have picked the wrong thing, then it does not matter how good your strategy is, you will sabotage it. You will abandon it and you are going to underplay it. World class mindset is not about never doubting. It's about building the ability to feel doubt, feel fear, and feel discomfort, all while still making the next right move. So, right into world class skill set. Mindset's not alone. It's not enough alone. You still have to be good at what you do. And that means you got to be studying the game, practicing deliberately, getting feedback, and staying a student even when you become good. I think this ties back to his academic roots, and I think that is really what it takes to master difficult subjects. For you side hustlers, that means asking, am I treating my craft like a hobby or like a profession? Where am I coasting on talent instead of sharpening my skill set? And 3, the third part of Mo's 3-part framework is always move in the direction of the result that you want before you see it. And this was one of my favorite lines from Mo. I got a lot of favorite lines from Mo because he's an awesome individual to talk to. But see, most people live in a pattern of I'll start when I feel ready. I will invest when I see the proof. I'll show up when I'm guaranteed a return. But, life doesn't work that way, especially not in entrepreneurship. Mo framed it like this: we do not live to be 1,000 or 10,000 years old, and we do not have unlimited time. We have roughly 4,000 weeks on this planet if we're lucky. So the alternative to moving without guarantees is procrastinating indefinitely. The people who build actual success are the ones who move before they're fully ready, and they act before they're fully confident. So those 3 steps together give you a simple filter. Is my mindset supporting the goals? Am I building my skill set to match my ambitions? Am I actually moving, or am I just thinking about moving? Now, how do we relate these? Oh, hang on a second. I want to touch on takeaway number 3, because this was actually an important part here. Hang on one second. This is so this is super practical, and honestly, it's something that I'll probably borrow for myself and remix it and use it with some of my clients, because it was pure gold here. So listen, so Mo talked about the 3 P's of polished performance: preparation, performance, polished preparation. So if you're thinking here, we research, we overthink, we tweak, we plan, we binge podcasting courses. Preparation matters. You want to be thoughtful. You want to know what you're doing. But Mo put a guardrail on this. Prepare up to about 80% and then stop. Because past that point, preparation becomes procrastination. You start using "I'm getting ready" as a shield against the fear of actually doing the thing. So performance. Once you hit that 80% mark, you have to leave the lab and enter the arena. This is where you finally launch that offer, record that episode, run the workshop, host the webinar, send the message, have the sales calls. And here's the key. When you're in performance mode, you're no longer obsessing over preparation. You're not in your head about every little detail. You're supposed to be present and engaging in the doing. You accept that, and it might be messy. You lean into it anyways. And then finally, the polish. After you've acted, you move into the polish. This is where you review what went well, what landed, what fell apart, what fell flat, and where do you feel stiff or unprepared? Where do people light up? You're not allowed to be judging yourself as a person. You're evaluating the performance, and then you tweak. You magnify what worked and you minimize what didn't. You upgrade the process, then you go back through this cycle. Prepare, perform, polish, repeat. So, for side hustlers who might be stuck in this building quietly mode, you do not get polished by hiding behind your laptop and endlessly rewriting your offer. You get polished by running the ugly version first, posting the imperfect content, launching the small audiences, and letting the reps redefine you. Mo says it. He says, you cannot get too polished unless you do it first unpolished. So get out there and just do it ugly first. All right. Now, how do you align this to becoming a prime performer? So I'm going to connect some of the things that Mo was saying to the prime performance principles and the prime performance process, because there is a lot of overlap. All right. So Mo's whole story is essentially a resilient story, growing up with a narrow definition of success, putting in the work to climb the ladder, realizing that it was not enough, starting over in a whole new industry, rebuilding identity, income, and impact from scratch. That's pretty close to the definition of resilience, to walk away from something like that works on paper, but is draining your soul in reality. And it takes that resilience to be the person in your family who says, I'm going in a different direction. And his 3 P's of the polished performance live inside principle 1, too. You build emotional toughness every time you prepare, perform, and reflect and go again. So, and yeah, a lot of the stuff too here. So the next thing I wanted to kind of dive into was the clarity, which is prime principle number 3. And it's all about the clarity and reflection. So knowing who you are, what you want, and where you're going. Most distinction between apparent success and actual success is pure clarity work. He had to step back and ask, what have I been told is success? What do I now believe is success? And what do I actually want my days to feel like? This is like literally the flag framework territory to a T, identifying values, lifestyle, aspirations, and growth. Mo, also mentioned identity a lot. The shift from I am a pharmacist, I am a scientist, to I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, and I'm a builder. Identity clarity is a huge part of why people get stuck when they're trying to transition from one career to another. You're not just changing jobs, you're changing who you believe you are. And the last connection I want to do for you guys is principles number 5 and 6, like social and opportunity. Because when Mo talked about not doing it alone, hiring mentors, learning from the best in the world, and leveraging coaching, that's essentially prime principle number 5, which is social support and influence. He is not trying to white knuckle his way through life like a lot of people are in the entrepreneurial world. He's leaning on other people's expertise, network, and experience. And the way he turned his story, his skills, and his language abilities into a speaking career is pure principle number 6 of opportunity creation. He didn't just get lucky. He prepared, showed up, invested, and kept moving forward towards the result before it was even guaranteed. So, if you're listening, I know there's a lot I covered in this recap because it was a great episode. And you're thinking there, like, man, I need someone to help me bridge the gap between where I am in life and where I know I could be leaving. Or if you're in that place where you've already checked all the traditional boxes, your LinkedIn page looks great, your family is proud, but you're hungry for more alignment and more freedom and more impact, then I highly recommend you connecting with Mo. You can find him at mosalami.com or go straight to mosalami.com/free call to book a complimentary strategy call with him. On that call, you're not just signing your life away. You're not trapped in some high pressure sales script sort of conversation where things are forced and it's awkward and weird. You're literally having a real conversation about what it is that you want, what it is that's in your way, and what it might look like to move forward with more intention. So if you're running a conference or retreat or a company event, don't forget, he also is a keynote speaker and he's really passionate about redefining and delivering. So if you're looking for a speaker who can blend scientific background, deep personal development work, and practical takeaways people can use the same day, Mo is a great person for that. So now, if this conversation is lighting up to you because you recognize yourself on both sides, the burnout side, the growth side, and then wanting to remind you that you can get all this kind of information and accountability in the Prime Performance Coaching and our Momentum Mastermind. In the Mastermind specifically, every week we get together to build resilience, sharpen intentionality, deepen clarity, optimize your routines, strengthen social support and influence, create more opportunity. And we're not just sitting in a circle on Zoom and talking about theory. We're building actual systems for your life and business so that you can look good, feel good, and do great things. If you want that space where you're not only in a circle who cares about growth, where you can bring the messy middle, not just the highlight reel, and where you can get real field feedback and accountability and encouragement, then come and join us. You can start by heading over to survivingthesidehustle.com/mastermind for the easiest and quickest way to plug into Prime Performance Coaching and the Momentum Mastermind Monday calls. All right, just to wrap it up, here's your challenge for the week, which is inspired by Mo. I want you to create your own success statement. So grab a notebook, open your notes app, voice memo, voice note, whatever works for you, and complete this sentence. Success to me means because, I'll say it again. Success to me means ... because ... So I'll give you a few examples to get your brain going. Success to me means waking up with energy and going to bed proud because I know I invested in my health, my relationships, and my mission. Or how about success to me means doing meaningful work with people I enjoy because I value impact and connection more than titles and status. Or one more for you is success to me means having the freedom to design my days around what matters most because I do not want to live my life on autopilot. So don't rush it. Think about it. Sit with it. Write a messy version first, right? Then go polish it the next day and redefine it the following day. Clean it up. Let it be something that feels true right now, not something you think you're supposed to say. Then once you have it, read it out loud and ask, where does my current life reflect this and where does it not? Then pick one small action that moves you closer to that definition this week. And if you want some extra accountability, tag me on Instagram at Rob Tracy and share it using #SurvivingTheSideHustle. And I would love to see where you're defining success for yourself. So finally, to wrap it up, I want to leave you with this. You are not stuck with the definition of success you inherited. You are not there. You are allowed to evolve. You're allowed to pivot, and you're allowed to say that worked for a season, but that's not the full story. Mo's journey from science to pharmacy to speaking and coaching is not about throwing away his past. He did not erase it. He repurposed it. He took discipline, rigor, study habits, problem solving, aimed it in a different direction, and you can do the same too. So keep showing up, keep grinding, keep redefining success on your terms. And until next time, peace, peace, peace. And that's it for this episode of Surviving the Side Hustle. If you found this valuable, the best way to support the show is to rate and review on Apple or Spotify. It helps get the show in front of more driven individuals just like you, and helps them discover the tools to get unstuck, break through burnout, and build something real. And you can always connect deeper with me, our guests, or grab free resources at survivingthesidehustle.com/Rob. Whether it's a strategy call, the Prime Performance Personality Quiz, some of our products, or just to check out our free content library, connect with us over at survivingthesidehustle.com/Rob. And hey, remember this, you weren't meant to just grind. You were built to grow. So stay conscious, stay committed, and keep showing up. Peace, guys.